Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created or the Facebook group we have. There are links for those down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to see the different meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goals. Excuse me. Let's see. Today is day 1045 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 270 pounds so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. And if you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Go ahead and switch over here. Hello. It's been a few days since I've seen you guys. I hope everything is going great for everybody. I have been extremely busy with work. I think I put in like 16 hours this weekend of overtime, I guess you would consider it, even though I don't get paid for overtime. But a lot of extra work this weekend, so haven't really been doing a whole lot other than work and hanging out with the family here. So I don't know how much I really have for an update today, but I was going to go over a few things. Yeah, it's been crazy the last few weeks with work, so it's been hard to get any planning or stuff together for these live streams or set up a topic, especially today. But I did want to get on and just kind of do a quick update, check in, let you know that I'm still alive, I'm doing awesome, and I'm very excited about the last 50 days of this challenge here. So it's going to be 50 days until I reached that 3-year mark, which is just crazy. And just saying 50 days and then thinking about my first 50 days and how wild my first 50 days were. And I'm hoping that the last 50 days are just as exciting for me as the first 50 days were. But I did lose 100 pounds in the first 50 days of this challenge. I don't imagine I'll be losing 100 pounds in the last 50 days of this challenge, but if I can lose a little bit of weight, that would be good enough for me, I suppose. But yeah, just getting towards the end of the 3 years and just how much I've learned, how much things have changed, how much my life is different now than it was when I started this challenge. Just awesome. Just the difference. Everything about my life is better now than it was when I started this challenge. And I'm so thankful that I did it and that I decided to finally take control of my health. And I really feel like I've done an amazing job doing that. I mean, losing 270 pounds. I know it's not to my goal yet, and I'm working towards it, but I didn't realize, you don't know what you don't know, I suppose. And when I started this challenge, I didn't realize, how I would, how things would be at this point. And I didn't, I really, it shocks me that I'm still doing this. It shocks me that I'm still succeeding and that I've found something that works for me, and that it's really helped a lot doing this here. A few people checking in here. Carrie's checking in. Hello, hello. Tammy, Pretty Girl's mom. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Tammy here says, I am definitely struggling. Her husband doesn't eat as she does, and it's very hard to continue to cook meat for him and not wanting to taste. He keeps saying he's on board with me, but it's not working. Yes, it's very tough. One of the things that, so a few things, I guess, for me, I'm very fortunate that Carrie was on board right away with whatever I wanted to do. She was going to back me up or try or give me the support that I needed to do something, because I was in such a bad position. You do have to do it on your own. But it's okay to ask for help. And you might have to, push to get that help. One of the analogies that somebody had said, or I had seen early on in this challenge, that I liked when it came to partners and trying to lose weight while other people in the house aren't trying to lose weight, is the idea or the thought of that you are trying to fix something that's broken, and you need help fixing what's broken. If you broke your ankle and you had to have your foot in a boot and you couldn't drive to work or the store or do normal daily tasks that you would normally do, many times, and everybody's scenario is different, but I would hope your spouse would help you. If you needed help getting in and out of the car, help getting ready to take a shower or getting dressed, your spouse would help you for that short period of time that you need help, because it's only a temporary thing. And after the bones heal and fix themselves, then you'll be able to do it on your own. But you need help when you first start, or when you first get injured. And this dieting in general is no different. You have to ask your spouse to help you, and it may cause an inconvenience for them, but the alternative is that you may end up getting a health consequence from your poor eating. If you have high blood pressure, if you are overweight, if you have diabetes, there are consequences to those health problems that you won't be able to avoid. If you're eating poorly and it causes you to have a stroke or heart disease or a heart attack, a catastrophic event, then they're going to have to step in. They're going to, if you have a stroke, you're going to need help from your spouse. And most of the time, I would think the spouses would step up to help, and losing weight and changing your lifestyle isn't so much different in that you need help, and it's going to be an inconvenience for you, but it also, the people around you might have to understand that they may be inconvenienced a little bit too. And when it comes to diet, it could be things like just having separate pantries, that my food goes in this pantry and your food goes into that pantry, and then you never see their food. When it comes to meat, you might have to say, hey, I'll cook everything else, but you have to cook your own meat. Because it makes your handicap more difficult by cooking that meat because of the temptation of it. And it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. It may only be that I just need you to help me get away from this stuff for 3 weeks, for a month. And then after that point, the momentum of your weight loss and the improvement in health may allow you to start picking up some of those tasks or putting your guys' stuff together in the pantry. But it's going to take work, and it's going to take a separation. If cooking meat is too tempting for you, then you have to remove that from the equation. And I know it might not be possible, but if it is, you got to give it a shot for a little while. Just say, if he says he's on board, then it may have to, he may have to be more on board. You are likely worried about how much you're inconveniencing him with your weight loss choices, or your diet choices, but how inconvenienced is he going to be if you pass away from heart disease? How inconvenient is it going to be if you have to, if you have to have your leg removed because of diabetes? Like that short-term inconvenience to allow you to figure out this is far less than the long-term consequence. And when I look back and where I was, and Carrie was, like I said, I could have said I was going on a styrofoam diet, and she would have gone and collected styrofoam from around the city, whatever. She was on board, and I'm very thankful that she was on board from the beginning. But even if she wasn't, I still would have had to have figured it out for myself, and it would have been more difficult. But had she not been so on board, there's a huge chance that me at 520 pounds has a heart attack. And I've said it many times that if up until this challenge and me losing this weight, many people in my life, if they were told that I had a heart attack, they wouldn't have been surprised. And so it may be an inconvenience for us to eat this way and to change our diet and change our food and change everything that we're doing. But that inconvenience added years and years to my life. I truly believe that I wouldn't have made it to 41 years old had I been eating the way I was eating. I would have been just another sad story and a widowed wife and 4 kids with no dad. But because I made these changes and I went through and still go through the inconveniences of being on this diet, my kids have a father and my wife has a husband. And so I know you don't want to tell your husband to help you more, but if it's not working, then you're not getting enough help, or you're not giving yourself the ability to succeed. The question I always ask, what are some things that you were doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? And it might be telling them they got to cook some of their own stuff, or making different things. And so it's tough. And I know I've had a lot of people on here talk about how they would love to stick to it, but their spouse isn't on board and it makes it difficult. And so you have to try to find ways. And also, it's kind of an easy excuse to say, my spouse isn't on board, so that's why I can't succeed, because then it's not your fault, it's their fault, or it's you as a group and not you alone that is at fault. So you do have to advocate for yourself, and and give yourself grace. Be you know that you're going to have to take time to learn it, and don't let the failures discourage you from trying to find a way to succeed. So I hope that helped a little bit. Let me see a few other comments here. Pretty Girl's mom says that they couldn't stand the smell. Yeah, and that's something for me with the animal products and things. We, for the first 4 or 5 months, our kids still ate dairy and meats. But then after that time, when we realized how well we were doing and how good we felt, we removed that from our kids' diets. So we don't have any of that stuff in our house. But I don't have any desire for meat or animal products. It's something that has been one of the most surprising things, because when I started this diet, I thought that I would constantly be craving that stuff. And it really, very early on, I was okay with not having those things. Superfood Parent says, congrats on all of your progress. I'm usually lurking while working these days, but you've been an inspiration. Thanks so much. And then Superfood Parent says, I don't mind the smell of meat, but I don't cook it for other people. My winning story is that my kids are eating what you cook. That is awesome that you got your kids eating what you cook. Let's see. Tammy here says, it is nauseating, but my husband doesn't cook. Well, that might be something that he's got to learn a little bit. I know it's tough, but like I said, if you got into an accident and you had to be in a wheelchair, your husband would likely push you around and help you with that. Like he may have to learn how to cook a burger or put a steak on the grill. If that's causing your failures, then you got to try to set yourself up for success. Carrie here asks if you're in the Discord, it's not super active, but if you reach out, there's often somebody should be able to offer some encouragement or accountability. Let's see, there is a link, but it might be expired. I'm not very good at updating it. Let's see, Carrie says that when I started this, she would have done everything or anything. She was so afraid I was going to die. Yes, that was something that we did have 1 or 2 discussions prior to this about that. Tammy here says that when he started eating as Tammy does and got cleared of prostate cancer and then went back to his old ways of eating, then his PSA started going back up again. Yeah, like that's why every diet fails, is because we start to feel better or we get better, and then we think that we can go back to the way it was. But yeah, that's tough, because he's done it. He's eaten this way. He obviously ate this way for a little while. If he was able to get cleared of prostate cancer, like, and to me, like, I read the book, Colin Campbell's book, The Future of Nutrition and Whole, and he talks a lot about cancer growth and animal protein. And I would be very scared to eat anything that had animal products in it if I had cancer or if I was worried about cancer coming back. So I hope you guys can work something out. And yeah, and maybe it's something where it's yeah, you gotta have an open line of communication with it and let them know that it's what's going on isn't enough for you. Because, you know, you are trying to make yourself healthy so you can be around to, you know, enjoy life with him for longer. So Superfood Parents here says, you understand the situation. Your husband did the same thing with his A1C going up when he went back to sneaking sodas and juice at work. Yes, it is tough. Like I said, and that's the many times people start a diet because they've reached that point of, you know, I guess the rock bottom, you know, or that they had they went to their doctor and they got scared enough to do something, or they actually had something happen that also scared them enough to do something. But once you get away from that danger of immediate death, then you start letting the little poisons back in, and it's very difficult, but you have to think about the future and realize that if you continue to make those poor choices, that the future is going to be much darker than if you make the positive choices or the right choices. Yeah, so it's hard, you know, and we don't, if it'd be amazing if we could all do it a diet in a vacuum, if we could all not have outside influences, outside pressures, and just be able to stick to it, but it's not life. And life makes it tough, but I would do your best to, you know, remove yourself from the situations where you are tempted, you know, maybe make your food first and eat that, you know, while you're making his food. It's hard, you know. And you know, and I don't know if you are in a poor health or if you're in great health, you know. But again, you know, you say he doesn't know how to cook. If you die from a stroke, he's going to have to learn how to cook. And so it's a hard decision to make, or it's hard to think about things that way. But at the same time, you want to succeed and you want to live a very long and healthy life. So hopefully you guys can work something out, and also, you know, give yourself that grace that you're figuring it out. You're learning. Every failure is a learning experience. And, you know, the first time a kid hops on a bicycle, he's not going to win the Tour de France. It's something where you're going to fall, you're going to have stumbles, you're going to make wrong turns, but eventually you get better and better. And maybe 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, you're competing, you know. But yeah, just take it each day and do your best to put yourself in a position to succeed. Superfood Parents here said that they had to realize that they just had to save yourself because your husband wasn't interested in help. You focus on you and your children or the others that you teach and you impact. Yeah, it is you, you know, and at the end of the day, that's, you were the one that controls what you put in your mouth, and you are what you eat. It's I've said the saying, I've heard the saying, but until I started living this lifestyle and realizing how positively the foods that I eat now impact my mood and my health and my just overall being, that you are 100% what you eat. The skin, the cells that make my hand up, they constantly regenerate. The skin is not the same, exact skin cells that were on my body 20 years ago. And these cells were created from the food that I consumed. And when you consume processed junk food, then your body produces processed junk cells, or it produces those cells from processed junk food. But now with how I eat, I know that all my cells are as healthy as possible. They're actual whole food living organism kind of things, like they're living plants, I guess. And it's crazy, and I really, I thought about it a lot when I was losing weight. When I was 350 pounds, I'm still the biggest guy in the room, but I wasn't the most unhealthy person in the room because what was in my body, what my body was doing. If I were to continue to eat this way the rest of my life and not lose another pound, I wouldn't be concerned about my health because I know I'm not eating anything that's going to negatively impact my health. And that's big. So shoot, sorry. Yeah, it's just something that you have to yeah, the what you are what you eat. And I've come to understand that it definitely improves my health. Let's see here. Tammy says to superfood parents that they had been, they've been through the same thing. We both are retired, but then I look at him and I feel so sorry because he keeps asking for it. He tries to eat as I do, but it doesn't last. I would say it's tough to do, but you need to eat more food. If you can't stay on the diet, then I believe it's because we are not eating enough of the foods that we should be eating. I go to bed with a full stomach. I wake up and I eat large portions of food throughout the day. And that allows me to be satisfied. And that satisfaction carries over throughout the day, and it keeps me from having those breaks. You think of foods and you may have thoughts of things that are off plan, but I don't believe that they don't turn into actionable cravings if you're full. It's the thing I say to my kids all the time when they come to us at 7 o'clock at night and say they want a snack. I want something to eat. Say there's bananas, there's apples, there's oranges. Well, I don't want that. Well, then you're not hungry enough. Or there's carrots or celery. There's things that you can snack on that's healthy, but then you say, I don't want that. Well, that's what you want and what you need are two different things. If you are hungry and you're craving a snack, then you need to eat. But you want to eat junk food. What you need to eat is healthy food. So yeah, you have to balance your wants and your needs. You do need to eat, but you don't need to eat what you want to eat. You need to eat what you're supposed to eat. And it's tough, and it's a matter of having potatoes around. For me, the the things that I always filled my gut up with was Ezekiel bread and nut butter, cashews and mangoes. They're not the best choices to make, but they are far better than the alternative. And I'm trying to make staying on my diet easier than the alternative. So eating Ezekiel bread with nut butter might be what you need to do to satisfy your hunger cravings. You may put, your mind might put a picture to that hunger craving, which is a food you shouldn't eat, but you have to just respond to the hunger craving and give it what it needs, not what it wants. And Matt here says it took him years, months to truly convert. Now there's just no going back. Yeah, it's something where it takes time to perfect it. It takes time to get better at it. And you're gonna lose matches. You're gonna fall off the bike. You're going to have times when you're not happy with how you're doing and you start to get down on yourself, and you have to get through those periods of time. You have to understand that you have the rest of your life to figure this out. So many people are in a rush to get the weight off as fast as possible. And I absolutely have been guilty of that my whole life. Even starting this challenge, my mindset was that I would lose the weight in the first year to 2 years, and then I'd spend the third year maintaining the weight loss. That's not how it's played out. I lost a great amount of weight the first year. The second year, I lost some weight. It wasn't near as much as the first year, but it was still going the direction I wanted it to go. And it didn't play out like I had imagined it would play out in my head. And so I'm still working towards that 220 pounds, but I'm not discouraged by it. I'm actually encouraged by it. I'm happy that things are going this way as opposed to how I thought they might go, because anytime I've had that easy, quick weight loss, I've lost that easily and quickly. And now I see what it's like to work at it. I see what it's like to learn. That's another thing. If your husband is at all willing to listen to audiobooks or read any books, I recommend kind of continually educating yourself. I know you said he was eating this way to help with his prostate cancer. I don't know, I imagine there was something that you saw, read, or influenced you to go towards this way of eating because of that prostate cancer. But did you continue to read and educate yourself? That's something that there's many times I can remember where I picked up some diet book and I read that diet book, and then I said, okay, I'm going to put this plan into place. But then there was no further knowledge to be gained. I'm following this guy's diet plan or diet program, and that's the whole thing is wrapped up in a 100 or 200 page book. There's no continuing education. There's no increased knowledge that you get. And with eating a plant-based diet, I feel like there's so many different versions of the plant-based diet, but there's so many great resources out there and books that can help encourage and keep you on track. The first book I read was The Pleasure Trap. And then that kind of led me to read Eat to Live and Whole and The Future of Nutrition and The Proof is in the Plants and Starch Solution and Chef AJ's books. It kind of started like my education of eating this way and learning about my health and about diet and how your diet has a direct impact on your health. So, let's see here. Christy says, hi, Christy. Superfood parent says, I took sorry out of my vocabulary. It doesn't serve us. Education does. So maybe just play videos when he starts pulling on your heartstrings. Yeah, it's, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, you're responding to Tammy there. Yeah, it's something where you do have to, like, yeah, just try not to give up your health or give up, yeah, being healthy as much as possible. What was I going to talk about? Let's see. Carrie was supposed to text me if I had a deadline or not. I'm imagining that I don't have a deadline if I haven't heard from her at this point. But what was the other thing I was going to talk about? I had an interaction this past weekend. Something I've talked about in the past is that I live kind of in the same area where I grew up. I live very close, like just a few miles from my house where I grew up at. And so when we go to school events or things for our kids, there is a very high likelihood that I'm going to run into somebody that I went to school with. And Carrie always laughs because she went to school like 5 hours away from here. So she never sees anybody that she ever went to school with. But I can't go to a school function without running into a few people. And on Friday, my son had a cross country meet that he was running in. And I ran into a guy that I went to high school with and had a great conversation with him. It was awesome. It was nice to kind of catch up with him, see how he was doing, talk about our kids, talk about cross country, talk about the area, and the whole time it was just a normal conversation. But I think back to all the anxiety that I used to have. Like, I would have avoided letting him see me at 520 pounds, which would have been really tough because you can't hide at 520 pounds. You kind of, especially if I would have been going to like a running event, there are some people that are overweight, but I don't know that I saw anybody that was 500 pounds walking around. And it was nice to have a conversation and not feel like there's that underlying, like, oh my God, did you see how big John got? Because I think that might have been the first time I saw him since 20 years ago, or at least first time I had a conversation with him in 20 years. And it was cool, it was nice to not be burdened by my weight, because right now I'm lighter now than the day I graduated high school 20 years ago. I'm as light now as I was as a freshman in high school. So it was really cool, or it's kind of fun to be able to go into having conversations without that in the back of my head, like I would love to be thin and have them be like, holy cow, like how much did he change? Like that's my goal now, is to get that, oh wow, look how skinny you are, because I was never skinny. Nobody, and still now, nobody in my life would call me or consider me skinny. But that's the goal. And for me to get to a point where I am skinny would probably be just as shocking to those people that I hadn't seen in 20 years as me being 500 pounds. But it's a good shock. It's the shock you want to have, not the shock that you don't want to have. Let's see here. Superfood Parent says that they play educational videos for your kids, and it does help. You try playing the animated ones because they're shorter and they keep the kids and adults' attention. Yeah, short videos do much better than long videos, as I say 40 minutes into this video. Yes, with the kids, it's tough, and we try to get them to do better. My one daughter might not love me talking about it, but our oldest daughter is getting to the age where she's starting to get some pimples and complexion things. And I've been trying to tell her, that it's the food that she eats impacts her skin. It's going, you're not going to avoid pimples and acne at that age. But if she was eating dairy and eggs and meat, I would be willing to bet that her acne would be far worse than it is now. And I don't even think she has it's whatever, kids being picky about things. But I tried to let her know, that if you wanted fewer pimples, you need to eat less oil, and you're gonna see fewer pimples. Yeah, but just trying to educate our kids that you are what you eat, and the healthier you eat, the healthier you're going to be. And again, it's a slow process. Even though we control their food, it's been slow, to get them to eat more of the foods we eat. I mean, we have one of our kids that wouldn't eat broccoli for 2 years, and now they eat broccoli and rice all the time. It's something that, I guess if you just beat it into them long enough, eventually they pick it up. But it's crazy. Let's see. Superfood says, that's great to have a normal conversation and have your former elephant in the room be a sweet little mouse going unnoticed. Yes. Like, yeah, I was, I was always the biggest guy in the room. And, I'm wearing a big bright yellow shirt today, so I definitely, you would see me. But even wearing a black shirt and trying to hide in the corner, I would stick out as much as I do in this bright yellow shirt when I was 520 pounds. Yeah, I would love for, my kids to grow up and for me to just be just a normal sized dad. Nothing different about me for them to get picked on or anything like that. So Matthew says, I love shocking people. It's a kick. Yes, I have. I've had some great reactions over the past 2 years. I've had people not recognize me at all. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool having, it's, yeah, it's great going to these school events now, because all the people I ran into for the last 6 years, who saw me at 500 pounds, and then now they see me, and then now it's a matter of making it stick, because how many people have you seen, or how many people have you heard that have had that weight loss and they've had that shocked look, they've had those shocked responses, but then 5 years later, they're getting back to where they were before. So I'm also hoping that yeah, I'm not sure what I was going to go with there. So Carrie here says she calls me skinny. Yes, well, I'm skinnier than I was. Superfood Parent says, FYI, changed my name. I know you're Laquita Marie, blind guy and his wife, and to focus on nutrition and health. Now you cook live, and that might be why your kids eat the food better, because you're cooking it, and yeah, that's awesome. So yes, I saw that you changed your channel name, and I do follow you. So that's awesome. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about today? there was a topic. There was a topic that I talked to Carrie about. I had seen a comment, or I'd seen a something about Ozempic and Wegovy and those shots, the weight loss shots that people are taking, and seeing the success of that really triggers, or seeing the people that, or I guess when I say the success of that, I mean that the how successful they've been at spreading throughout the population. Not the success people have had on the product, because I don't know that there's a lot of long-lasting success. I mean, the product's only been around for a few years, so there's really no longevity studies with taking a product like Wegovy or Ozempic, or is it semaglutides? Is that the right thing? But it takes me back to 2013 when I was taking phentermine. And it was something that I had finally given up, that I was going to be able to do something on my own. I wasn't able to eat few enough calories and work out hard enough to lose weight. So I decided that I was going to go to a doctor, and I was finally going to let somebody else help me. And I started taking phentermine, which is an appetite suppressant. And I don't know that these are that much different. But at the time, I felt like I was having incredible success, because I was losing weight. I didn't learn how to eat. I just lost weight because I wasn't eating. And in the end, it got to a point where I couldn't take that anymore. I think that's the difference between these semaglutides in that phentermine, is that these Ozempics are supposed to be for the rest of your life, that you're supposed to be taking these. And I think it would be really hard to convince somebody who got to a healthy weight to keep taking that medicine. I really do, especially with the cost associated with it. And so what I feel like we're going to see happen, if we're not already seeing it happen, is these failures that people go to their doctor as a last resort. And that's really what it was. I was going to go to the doctor. I was going to try this program because I've always known that having bariatric surgery was an option for me, but I didn't want to go that route. And so I went to the doctor. I started taking this prescription drug, and I lost weight. And it was doing great, but then eventually the drug failed. I failed the program. Whatever happened, or I know what happened. I quit taking an appetite suppressant. My appetite came back. But what that leaves you is, I was so broken. Like, this thing that had worked so well. I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. And so really I just was like, all I can do is do surgery, and I don't want to do surgery. And so I just went into this spiral pit that, in 10 years I gained, what was that, 230 pounds over that course of that time, and I might have tried little diets here or there, but never really gave another chance, because I went to the doctor and that failed me. And so I was a failure. And that failure in my mind really put this horrible cloud over my head. And I sat under that cloud for years and years, really thinking that the only way to get out from underneath the cloud was going to be go back to a doctor and to look into bariatric surgery. And I think that that's what this Wegovy and these semaglutides, it's like the first step to then going to the doctor. Like, you finally give up that you're going to do it on your own and you go to a doctor for help. And then that doctor gives you this medicine that's supposed to suppress your appetite. Everybody's losing all this weight and all these other things. And then you fail on that, or you can't keep doing that. Then the only next step is surgery. Like, I feel like these products will only increase the number of people that go on and get surgery for, some sort of gastric sleeve, gastric bypass, some bariatric surgery. And I really wish people would stop. It's so hard on your body, and we're designed this way for a reason. And I really hate the idea of going in and altering the way our digestive system works. And I thank whoever you're supposed to thank. I think that I didn't get surgery. This would have been so much more difficult to eat this way if I would have had surgery. It would have changed everything. And I'm so thankful that I tried this first, and that, I really took the idea that I'm willing to try anything to heart, because I think there's so many people out there that they go to their doctor to get these drugs, and they say to the doctor, I'm willing to do anything. And the doctor says, I got it for you. All you got to do is take a shot once a month, or I don't even know what the whole thing is, or it's a pill. I'm not sure. But you give up that control, and it's so tough. But I'm so happy I didn't do it, and that I didn't alter my digestive system, and that I'm able to eat these foods, and I'm losing weight successfully while eating food. Because again, I went into this challenge thinking I was going to have to starve myself to a healthy weight. I was going to fast my way to a skinny body. And that's not the experience I had at all. Like, this is completely opposite. I eat myself to a healthy weight, which is wild. Matt says, Ozempic, unreal, side effects from hell. Superfood Parent says, I have a friend on Wegovy who's experiencing that amazing success, in quotes, of weight loss. It makes it easy to pretty much dismiss my nutrition info with those results. Yes, that's a huge thing too. Yes, that I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, they take what looks like success, and they use that to dismiss your point. And the only thing you can do is outlast them. Like, you have this amazing weight loss success, but can you afford to be on that drug the rest of your life? When you get to your goal weight, are you still going to be motivated to spend that money and to take those drugs after you get to a goal weight? And what happens when the government recalls these drugs? Because it happens a lot. The first time I ever lost weight was in 2001. Well, not the first time, but the first time as an adult on my, trying to lose weight. I was on a pill program. I don't know if anybody had ever heard of Advocare, if they still exist, but I was an Advocare representative. I was at the bottom of my MLM pyramid, but I was getting that discount, so I could get the product. Um, and it rocked. I lost a ton of weight on Advocare because one of the 12 pills that I would take every day, or maybe two of the 12 pills that I was taking every day, had ephedra in it. And if anybody's been around long enough, they know that ephedra was the weight loss miracle drug for about a year or 2 years. And then some people started dying. And the government came in and said, maybe we should have done a little bit more testing or been a little bit more whatever. You can't just throw that product in and everything. And so it went away. So, and I talked about crutches last week. That was definitely a crutch. The phentermine was a crutch. Wegovy, Ozempic, they're crutches. And what happens when those crutches break? What happens when they get taken away from you and you have to walk on your own, but you haven't walked on your own? It makes it very difficult. So, yeah, it's something where, they maybe keep in touch with them. And when that amazing success starts to falter, or they start going back up to where they were, maybe you can catch them and be like, hey, stop the weight gain, start eating this way, but it's not likely to happen. I've never lost weight on a diet and then didn't gain all that weight back and more until now. So it's something where, you just got to be the example, and you got to outlast the haters. I guess that's where I'm at. That's the thing. That I get people that make negative comments about what I do or how I'm doing this weight loss, and the only thing I can do is to keep chugging along and keep checking in and keep showing that I'm succeeding, even though they don't believe I will. When I started this and I did my first video and I said I was going to do a 40-day water fast, I'm sure there's a lot of people that, well, not a lot of people saw the video at the time, but a good percentage of those people probably thought, well, he's not going to last. And I outlasted him. And the same thing with this diet is that you just got to outlast the haters. And this diet's so sustainable. I'm not starving. I'm not hungry for junk food. I just eat an abundance of whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free foods, and I feel great doing it. And you really have to just keep at it. So anyways, I don't know if I have much else. If anybody does have any questions, I will answer your questions here real quick at the end. But things have been going awesome. I've been stupid busy with work, really up until the end of this week. It's going to be a lot of busy work. So hopefully I can get things straightened out with work and maybe take a vacation at some point. So, but right now it's just been busy with that. I wish I had more to update with this weekend, but I sat at this desk hours and hours typing away on my computer, entering data and just doing just that. And so I don't have anything fun and exciting from this weekend. I'm trying to think if I didn't even hardly see my kids. Like Friday night, I went to the cross country meet. And then I was at work from sun up to sundown, Saturday, Sunday. So, I'm a little bit wiped out, but anyways, I am going to get out of here today. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thanks everybody for joining in on the conversation today. I really enjoyed it. And, I think I should be live tomorrow. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be live. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. If you have not subscribed to the channel, you should definitely get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon. And if you don't want to subscribe to the channel, don't want to click on the bell icon, at least hit the like button, you know, give me a thumbs up, and help this channel grow. It's been doing great. I'm 50 days away from the end of 3 years. But what I've learned throughout this challenge is that it's not a 3-year weight loss challenge. It is a 300-year, 30-year, I don't know. It's the rest of my life that I'm going to be eating this way. And I'm so happy that I found this way of eating. And if you haven't started eating this way, definitely give it a shot. And you might be shocked by your results. So I know I have been. So thanks, everybody. Yeah. If you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And there's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. So get started now, guys, and I will talk to you later.